Hello, welcome to the Opinionistics. I'm your host, John Milone. And of course, if we may have other regular co-hosts joining us, but if not, we'll keep the ball rolling. Introducing from Toronto, Canada, I give you Usman Sheikh.
Hi, how are we doing?
Going great. So, tell me, Usman, what do you do for a living?
I work in the field of marketing, predominantly technology and marketing, so it's digital marketing. I run an agency and I teach digital marketing and strategy.
Wow, okay.
Mhm.
And what are the key factors that you do in this position?
Yeah, so right now, we started this about 7 years ago, and before that, I was freelancing on the side while doing the corporate gig, until we decided, hey, this is a good full time thing to pursue. And We work in various different specialization within digital marketing. We do design a lot, branding, strategy formulation, content marketing, SEO, and advertising. Now we've recently really gotten heavier in 2021 and onwards, especially after COVID getting away from us, with video work and video marketing storytelling.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
And what got you into doing this?
That's a great question. So I'm actually a CPA or CA by trade. It's just a chartered accountancy or certified public accounting. I did that in my undergrad, my university years. I went through getting my articleship and get my designation, but I never felt like it was a true fit. I never did any hard accounting. It was always analytics and strategy even within that area. And then as I grew in my career, I decided, hey, I like more the customer and the psychology side of business than I do the hard numbers. Even though I enjoy the numbers, I like the psychology behind a lot of things. And I supported marketers in my corporate gigs that I had in my corporate roles over the many years. And then I felt like, hey, you know what? Maybe I can do this better as well. And so I pursued my master's and made a hard switch into marketing and strategy, focusing on my qualitative skills and marketing skills to kind of combine with my hard numbers and analytical things skills and that I had kind of acquired before that. Once I got into marketing and got an exposure into it, I found it such a fascinating field because, especially digital, it's like a fusion between like technology, marketing, and numbers. And to me, that's like there's so many different areas you can play and that have great outcomes become reality that it's just like it always challenges me. And because of that, I stuck with it. It's been so many years now.
Okay, incredible.
Yeah, thanks.
You're welcome. And what is your favorite part about digital marketing and design and other stuff in general about what you do?
Yeah, so we're in the business of helping other businesses become famous and become known in their space or category. And that means creating demand. In order to do that, you really have to kind of define your space, your niche, understand the customer more intimately, document it, and then come up with a way to design a business and give it a personality, so to speak, from a branding perspective, and an identity that will resonate. And then go find a place where they hang out. So it's like a full end-to-end spectrum, and then see where they're hanging out works better than the others. That's where you use analytics. But it really is from, hey, if 6 hours of our 24 hours are spent online, and or that much time, roughly 25% of our day is of the 24 hours is spent online in one form or another, whether we're looking at screens through work or through social or what have you. What can brands do to kind of take advantage of that and stand out and resonate in a very, very cluttered, hyper competitive environment?
Hmm. Alrighty then. And what was life for you growing up?
Yeah, so for us, life was very interesting because I came from a very humble beginning background. It was very my mom had three jobs. My dad did two jobs, and then he studied college, and he was in IT, and he always wanted me to kind of go into IT, but I wanted to be the black sheep. My brother went into IT, my cousins went into IT, and I pursued finance just so I could be different. And then and it was something that my dad accepted. Okay, you know what? You don't have to do IT as long as you get your designation. So I kind of pursued that as my way to kind of be different. But it was always in the back of my mind that, hey, I really enjoy kind of resonating in the front lines and creating experiences for brands or people. That's much more fun, and that's kind of what helped me find my career late in my 30s to transition into marketing.
Incredible.
Thanks.
You're welcome. And throughout your entire career, what have been the high points and the low points?
That's a great question. So the high points are obviously, when you are going through this entrepreneurial journey of starting something on your own, there's a lot of hope, there's a lot of excitement initially. And there's intrinsic motivation that kind of drives you because it's all play at that stage. And it's a lot of fun, and you can spend a lot of hours and look to create outcomes or create experiences and moments that you'll be happy with. They'll become part of your memory bank. And those are the most fun parts of entrepreneurship or opening up my agency. The challenging parts obviously is that being an entrepreneur, which is wearing so many hats that are outside of your comfort zone or things that you just don't enjoy doing. I'm not good at administration. I'm not good at accounting, believe it or not, even though I am a CA or CPA or what have you, on CMA here. And I enjoy the marketing and the research and the customer connection a lot more, but I'm having to wear those hats because we've got to make sure that the employees are taken care of, the customers are taken care of, or what have you. So it's a thrill, but then there's also challenges that kind of put you out of your comfort zone, which is okay as well, but that's not as exciting. So that's one aspect of it. The other, I think, is it does take a toll on the family. And there is it's hard to sometimes find that balance because you can never really turn your mind off the way you can if you're clocking in and clocking out at a job. And it's easy to sometimes lose track of time. And where that's where I found out early in my career, I'd rather have a business that I can manage and have a good family, work life balance, versus something that's thriving and then I don't have any work life balance or my family's dynamics are off. I'm a father of three kids. They're little kids, and to me right now, it's their time, it's their precious time, and they're never going to be this young. So I've kind of dedicated my days and work life to ensure that I'm there as a parent, as a father, and a husband, what have you, given this time period in my life. As they go older and they become a little bit more independent, we can definitely go into a higher gear and push more and take on more and spend the hours. But initially, that was some rude awakenings that I think that come as you're kind of finding your space and your rhythm.
All right, then, yeah, that's great.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And has has this been something you've done within Canada, or do you do this job every part around the world, and you like travel every now and then?
So that's a great question. So predominantly, our business is in North America, although we've helped a handful of brands in the UK, and we do have offices in South Asia. So I do get to travel. I have had clients work with us from Dubai. I've got clients, which is the Middle East. I've got clients from, we've got clients from UK. And we've got predominantly most of our 90% of our revenue is from Canada and US.
Wow, that's
Mhm.
quite a portfolio.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, again, like I said, it kind of happens over time. And a lot of our work we do, even though we are a branding company, we are a design company, I do market, because we're so focused on our customers, it really does come through word of mouth and somebody kind of stumbling upon our storytelling and then kind of reaching out. But that's what branding is.
Absolutely. If you were to start another business, what kind of business would it be?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question because right now, we're kind of testing out some new ideas, even at WebWorks, for finding new revenue streams. And I think, working in agencies is great. I really do love helping. We get so much exposures to so many different types of verticals and so many brands, whether it's pharmaceuticals or retail or real estate. So many different businesses come to us in so many different spaces and look for, getting to become more known in their space, getting more revenue stream, getting more demand creation, getting more leads, or what have you. The challenge with that is, it's really it really is taxing on us to really become intimate with the industry. And the onboarding takes a while. You learn a lot, but then it does it kind of absorb you and take up a lot of your time because there's such a huge learning phase. One of the things I think I would do differently is if I had to start something, and especially if it was an agent, I would pick a niche and just stick to it instead of kind of being open to all areas. That's one. Or what I would do differently is I would go more deeper into the Internet of Things and focus towards more a software solution that's customized for a particular audience in a very specific niche and just go deep in that. So instead of being a service model, being a product oriented business, say, hey, you want this? Here's a shoe, or here is a software. You can go purchase it. Here's the money. Go ahead and use it. If you like it, you keep coming back. If you don't, that's okay. We'll find someone else. It's like you walk into a store, there's nothing. Here in service based businesses, a very, very relationship driven industry. And obviously, the more you have to kind of invest in the relationship and always drive that, otherwise, it's not easy to kind of grow your brand.
Oh, that's a very good point.
Hmm. Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Would you rather be really hot or really cold?
That's an interesting question. I think hot is probably more manageable, versus being really, really cold. I'm from Canada, where it gets really cold, and below certain point, once you below -60 or -30, or what have you, it becomes crushing. And been to the Middle East, and we've stayed outside there where the heat gets unbearable as well. But I just find that the cold becomes too much to manage. Like even your like your breathing freezes over inside your mouth.
Yeah, I can certainly see it.
Hmm.
If your life was a meal, what kind of meal would it be?
Mm. Should be a really good steak, I suppose. Great steak with great summer vegetables, cooked to perfection.
Alrighty then. What is your favorite drink?
Mm. I am a coffee snub, so I enjoy coffee. I drink 2 to 3 cups a day. Keeps me going, keeps energy level high when the kids are home as well. So yeah, espresso is by far something that automatically popped out. As anything, I'm a big fan of good espresso.
Interesting.
Hmm. You have other folks that enjoy coffee in your show?
Hmm. Well, I've always asked people, how do you start? What is the best way to start the morning? And all of my American guests have all said, I get up, have a drink of coffee, and start my day. But every time I always ask them, how do you start your morning? They always say at some point they drink a cup of coffee, and yeah.
Yeah, I believe it. You don't do coffee much there in UK?
I've never met anyone outside the US who started the morning with coffee. Well, only two people, but that was it. Not many
Wow.
people from outside the US have started the morning with drinking coffee.
So how do you get up in the morning?
Well, most people I've met in real life just get up, have have a traditional breakfast, some meditate, and yeah, that's
But
about
no
it. It's just
hot drink or cold drink or anything? What do you drink?
Uh, I've never thought about something to drink in the morning, but I do take like a vitamin tablet every
Hmm.
now and then.
Oh,
Just like get some nutrition in there.
okay. That's interesting. Yeah, no, that's fascinating. America runs on coffee. Canada runs on coffee, and in fact, I think got to a point where simple coffee doesn't even do it anymore. I have to have the stronger stuff, which is espresso, condensed version. So it really does. And then once you even start having that too much, your body becomes desensitized to it. So I've got to take a break from it from time to time, and then so it starts. to reboot and restart it. So it does have an effect on, if it's a cloudy day in your brain because you're still sleeping from a fog, and then you have a good spike of caffeine, it removes the clouds and you can think much more faster, much quicker. That's
Hmm.
ideal. Boring time, and then obviously that comes at a later stage when you get to take a bit of a slowdown in energy because you gave it a bit of a push earlier.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
Which recent news story have you found most interesting?
Ooh, news story I have found interesting. That's a good one. That's a tough one. I actually, to be honest with you, I don't consume a lot of like mainstream news. Uh, I actually just predominantly consume, you know, um, social media as my news source, particularly Twitter. And for us, for me particularly, here in Canada, we had a National Truth and Reconciliation Day, which is still a bit of an awkward and tough topic to talk about because it talks about how people came to Canada, and then there was a lot of, I guess, um, tendencies of the colonization in Canada that hurt the local population here as the migration happened from Europe or what have you, and how those people that were here that are indigenous to this land had to suffer or got impacted. And then I think there's finally some recognition happening and uh, for it, and I think there is some healing to be done. But admitting and recognizing is very powerful, and that kind of that story really resonated with me because hey, we're finally having conversations, tough conversations. Hey, you know what? Yes, we take this land or nation for granted, but it was folks that lived here that suffered because some of the benefits we've been able to have. And how do we go about healing some of the tough things that our ancestors did, or wrong things that our ancestors did to right and put it in right size it, if that makes any sense. So that story has been kind of been playing in my mind. I've been sharing some of the stories that with our kids. So things of that nature. I just think more can be done to kind of talk about that in just general context.
Interesting.
Hmm.
Do you think a hot dog is a sandwich?
A sandwich? No, I don't think it's a sandwich. I think it's like somewhere closer to a burger than a sandwich. I do enjoy a hot dog, but my kids enjoy it quite a bit. Don't ask me how it's made or whatnot, but um, it's definitely not a sandwich. Even though it's got
Yeah.
all ingredients of a sandwich, but just the meat portion, it doesn't the way it's eaten, it's not a sandwich.
All right. Yeah, I certainly agree. But isn't a burger also a sandwich?
I'd say burger is probably closer to a sandwich than a sandwich. I agree, but I think hot dog in itself is its own. The way it's eaten, it's a little bit different. I think burgers are probably closer to a sandwich than a sandwich, and the hot dog is.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. If you were chosen to be a colonist for a new habitable planet, would you take the opportunity?
I would not.
Okay.
I would not take it because I feel like our work here in this planet is still not done. So I mean, it's great. I'm all for adventures. We've lived in different parts of the world, but I think, especially at this stage of my life, I just want to create where stability for our kids. Our kids are going to school and establish some roots, create some consistency in our everyday, and so because of that, the adventure pull is no longer there. It's the stability pull. Maybe once we get older and it's a different part of our life, if we want to explore and circumstances change, sure. At this stage in life, no.
Cool, cool. Would you rather be able to breathe underwater or have an agility of a cat?
These are very interesting questions. I would take underwater any day. It's phenomenal. Uh, there's so much you can explore and do underwater. It's just not you can't do over water, and because there's so much unknown and you don't know what you don't know. There's so many things, interesting things that you could find out from being able to pursue that option.
Absolutely.
What would you choose? Would you choose the cat or the water underwater?
To be honest, I would choose to breathe underwater because that way I can establish my own home under the water to get away from civilization and hopefully no one could reach me if they even try to get me, you know?
Yeah, yeah. That's a great place where if you can go somewhere and no humans can easily go. That's a phenomenal skill or power to have.
Yeah, absolutely. Where do you see yourself 20 years from now?
Wow. I plan 3 to 5 years out. 20 years, I have no idea. Probably teaching somewhere. I teach right now in local colleges, and I love it. And I've grown through the corporate ladder. I've started my own business, had some success with it. Helped out so many people, so many brands. It's been great so far. But I think as I get older, is all that learning still needs to be passed on. So I'm probably going to be writing and teaching a lot more into my later years than I am now. But I've started already. But I really enjoy teaching. I'll enjoy things that I take for granted, and then sharing with somebody who's got a very high potential or eager mind, and then share with them and watch them like light bulb go off and say, "Oh wow, that's interesting," and then I'm like, "Yeah, that's right," and then I found it interesting too when I learned it, and I figured it's worth sharing.
Cool, cool. If someone wrote a book about you, what do you think its title would be?
That's a tough one as well. I won't be able to tell you. uh, uh, Probably I have no idea. Like I probably be my name, and something along the lines of crazy marketer or something along those lines. Because I'm into marketing and I enjoyed it quite a bit. So I think anything, and I always push the boundaries and say, hey, you know what? Why don't we do something that no one in your category is doing? And this is how you gotta get gonna be able to get attention and stand out. And that's what's really helped our clients out because we think outside the box. So I think that's something along those lines, if that makes any sense.
Hmm, cool. And that's all we have for this episode. It's great having you here, Usman, talking about your work with digital marketing, your startups, and everything else. It's been amazing.
Excellent. Thanks so much for having me, John. It's been a pleasure.
Anytime. And until next time, stay opinionated.